Hi, today we are going to learn how to gently land Mirage F1. Gently is the key word here. While you can easily plant it on a runway with a ground slam, mimicking carrier landings, do it in a proper way requires a bit more effort and knowing of essential details. The first one is approaching runway threshold at proper AOA. Why not airspeed? Airspeed will change with the gross weight, while AOA is always the same, 10 degrees. If you fly the correct AOA, you will automatically fly the correct airspeed. While the AOA gauge on the left is excellent, another method of determining the correct angle is more practical during approach. In order to use it, we have to switch the HUD into approach mode first. Doing so transforms it to work like a modern HUD, with our horizon line being at the actual horizon, two pitch ladder marks, minus 2.5 degrees and minus 5 degrees, showing true angle below the horizon, as well as there is flight path marker. While it doesn't react to side drift, it's very useful in determining the correct approach angle. You'll also notice the gun sight being lit in approach mode. It is tied to the nose position and always shows minus 10 degrees from aircraft's center line. Some other tutorials advise you to dim the piper rosette, but don't do it. The reason is that, in the heat of a moment, it is easy enough to mistake the central piper for the FPM and vice versa. The rosette is a sure way to say which little dot is which, as the piper will always be the one in the middle. The proper way to fly the approach is to gather flight path marker, gun sight piper and minus 2.5 degrees pitch ladder mark at the runway threshold and keep all of them together there. Doing so will put you on a correct glide slope and not correct AOA in one simple move. Trim the plane nose up to maintain on-speed AOA by itself and use very slight stick and throttle inputs for minute corrections. Target engine RPM is about 7300, but use it as a reference only and adjust as required. The second essential detail comes into picture right at the threshold crossing. Pull the throttle to between 70 and 69 hundredths of RPM and leave it there as you flare. Failing to keep this partial engine thrust will result in a hard landing, beginning with rapid loss of speed caused by very draggy plane configuration with full flaps and gear down at moderate AOA. Once the spot you are aiming for so far disappears from sight, flare to around 12 degrees of pitch up. You can watch the FPM and use it as a reference, as its position relative to the horizon line indicates vertical speed direction and magnitude. You can use the horizon itself, the correct flare has it near HUD lower edge. Finally, you can keep an eye on AOA gauge, as border between green and yellow sectors marks the correct angle. At touchdown, reduce throttle to idle, open aero brakes and keep the nose up attitude for additional aerodynamic braking. To avoid tail strike, keep the AOA up in the middle of the yellow sector, but no more. The hard limit is 15 degrees, as marked by the beginning of red sector. A hair more, and there will be a difficult talk with your crew chief afterwards. Keep on the center line with short gentle presses on the rudder pedals, or with equally careful application of differential wheel braking. Once at 100 knots, the nose will start to come down by itself. Don't keep it up in the air at all costs at this point, and once it's on the ground, apply wheel brakes in a progressive manner. There is also braking parachute, but it was used mainly for very short runways or high gross weights. Don't forget to enable high gain nose wheel steering once at taxi speeds. There are other after landing attempts to be performed at this point, but since they are not critical in DCS, I am not going to talk about them here. At minimum, you can close the aero brakes and pull up the flaps to look better during taxiing to your parking spot. Thanks for watching, see you next time.